Good evening. My name is David, and I'm running the final of in 3 sessions of Last Fleet playtest. So the Last Fleet is a Powered by the Apocalypse game by Josh Fox of Black Armada Games. It's due to be released. It's due to go into Kickstarter, I think, at the beginning of next year. It's currently sort of in development in playtest still. So this version we're playing of it is the playtest version, which if you're interested in looking at it, you can get in touch with Josh. Is probably the best way at the moment. I'll put links to where you can find out about him down below. This game is being run as part of the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online role-playing game community. Focusing on indie games. We do all sorts of stuff, OSR, story games, various bits and pieces around that. We have these online games which we arrange through sort of a shared calendar. We also have some podcasts, a monthly gaming zine, public forums. You can find out more about all of those at the website, which is gauntlet-rpg.com. You can read about that down below again if you're interested in checking out that. I think that's all the stuff for me before we get started. So just, other than to say that, the Last Fleet is it's a game sort of heavily based on Battlestar Galactica. It's about the last human fleet fleeing from an implacable alien foe, and sort of how the characters, how the player characters deal with the stresses and strains of being in that situation, as well as their sort of day-to-day survival. So as I said, this is the third of 3 sessions. So if this is the first one you're watching, probably best to go back and catch the first. But yes, I'll just in a second hand over to my players and get them to introduce themselves. So I will go through in character keeper order as normal. As I said, my name is David. I use he, him pronouns. And Diana, if I can ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character and what happened to them last time.
Hola, I go by Diana Moon Online. I use she, her, and I'm playing Lieutenant Yunwen Soto, who uses she, they. They're a bit of a workaholic. Their primary focus is the safety of the fleet, and so that means working when they're not supposed to be on duty, and that caused, after a series of normal jumps, them to supposedly mistake a reading for possible resources when it was actually just a huge trap from the roaches, and excuse me, that caused in contention with good old Commander Elisa Cascade that maybe she's overworked or something, and so that gave her the excuse, at least for once, to be reprimanded and go to the pleasure ship where a good friend of hers owns commands, she actually had some downtime and got to commiserate with probably one of the only people she 100% trusts, I think, to enjoy. And yeah, I think that's pretty much Yunin Soto in the package. Sorry.
Brilliant, thank you. And next, Leandra, if you'd like to introduce yourself and your character.
Sorry about that. My browser decided to freeze on me for a tiny bit. Hi, my name's Leandro. Use he, him pronouns. I'm playing the aforementioned Commander Elisa Cascade. She, they pronouns. She's the former gunnery officer turned acting commanding officer of the Horizon Black, which is the flagship of our ragtag fleet. So she's got a lot on her plate. She's someone who tries to care about every member of the crew from the top down. And yes, she had concerns about Lieutenant Soto, but whether those concerns were justified or not, I'm not sure, because Elisa's trying her best. She's definitely trying her best, but the pressure has been mounting on her. Even just the mention of few casualties is enough to basically have her. Last time we saw her, she was basically just ignoring what she said, told Lieutenant Soto to like take a break, and instead slinked off to work. So do as I say, not as I do. That's basically how she rolls.
That's brilliant, thank you. And finally, Zach, would you like to introduce us to your character?
Sure. My character, I'm playing Porter Malik. They use he, him. Porter is the civilian in this group of player characters. He is the captain, the commander of the owner of the Don Juan, which is the pleasure yacht of the fleet, and as such, he gets to meet all sorts of people trying to let loose after a hard day fighting roaches. He is, again, quite close with Yoon and Soto, and is actually ostensibly related to Commander Cascade. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, and he is he's a bit of a bon vivant, and kind of a shit stirrer, if you will, among the Council of Captains. And there's some tension there. One of the interesting things is, despite his kind of coming from money, he is very friendly with some of the folks in the fleet that wished for more representation in this sort of makeshift and nascent political scene. So, and last session, he spent a lot of time trying to put on a good face, have a little bit of fun on the fleet, but I think we saw in some cutaways and his moments with Yunin that he is holding it together, but he's shaken. So we'll see how if he cracks this session.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. So yes, last time the fleet was lured into an ambush from which they narrowly escaped. Sadly, one of our players from last time, Donna, couldn't make it this evening. He was playing our dashing fighter pilot. So we gave him a bit of a send-off last time. We will actually first, I'll just very briefly go through the safety tools we'll be using this evening. I think my players will be familiar with this by now, but we'll be we've had a discussion sort of before the game started about lines and veils. We have a record of those in our character keeper if you do need to refer back to those. If you do need to add anything to that while we're playing, absolutely feel free to do so. That it's designed to be a living document. So if anything comes up that you want to add to that, do feel free to do so. I just ask if you do that while we're in play. If you just send me a message, just so that I know to look and I can let people know. If you want to keep it anonymous, that's fine. That's kind of one of the guiding principles behind what we'll be doing. We'll also have the X card in place, so if you do need to call the X card to sort of excise some material, move past something you don't want in the game, whether that be for sort of reasons of comfort or safety, or just for tone or what have you, that's all fine. To do so, do the usual. You can put your hands up in a sort of X sign in front of the camera, which I find difficult to do because I have a microphone right in front of me. You can type something into chat, or you can decide like to X card that. If you X card something, I might just ask you to clarify what it is you're Xing, but I won't ask you to justify why you're doing it. We'll just take that we'll just accept that and move with it. If something you introduce into the game gets X carded, don't take that as a sort of a personal affront or a personal failing. These things happen. We'll just as I said, pick up and deal with it that way. Finally, we'll be using script change by Bo Sheldon. This is a series of essentially like remote control commands to control the game in a sort of out of character sense. So the sort of four main things for this are pause, which lets us just take a moment to have an out of character discussion. we'll break from any play and just have a quick out of character discussion about whatever we need to talk about until we go back into it. Or even if you just want to like call a pause and just say, I just need a moment to, either to take a break from a tense scene or to like go and answer the door or whatever, if the doorbell's ringing. Rewind can be used to step something back that's just happened. This again might be sort of for comfort or safety, if the scene's just going in a way you don't want to do and you want to move back and go in a different way. Or it might just be that you realize something you said didn't make sense, or you didn't quite communicate what you meant to when you were doing something. And you can just call rewind and say, I just want to go back to where we did this thing, and we can then go back from there. Fast forward, obviously sort of the opposite of that can be used to skip over something. So this might be we don't want to get into any too graphic descriptions of something, a bit like dropping a veil as well. You might just say, can we just fast forward over this particular bit and we'll just go to when this thing has happened. Or it might be if like you feel the scene's just kind of getting a bit circular and isn't going anywhere, and you're just like, can we just move to the action or move on to a new scene? So things is done. You can use fast forward for that as well. And finally, there is the frame by frame command, which can be used to basically say we're going to take a scene a bit more slowly. We'll check in with each other as we go, just to make sure that everyone's comfortable with it. So that's my quick blitz through the safety tools. And so yeah, as I said last time, where we left things off, there'd been a space battle against the mnemonics, otherwise known as the roaches, the strange insectile robots that have been assaulting the human fleet. They were driven off. It was or rather, they were held up long enough for the fleet to escape. This led to some tensions, as you know, a lot of people had a lot of stress coming out of that, and there were a few heated moments between various characters, which we were adjusting. As I said, because we had to kind of fudge things around a little bit at the end of the last session, just to make sure we kind of got a final scene for Donna in. We sort of left off partway through a scene with Soto and Porter. So I think we will be sort of dropping back into that scene before we do anything else. The only thing I will ask first is, Leandra, is there anything that you want to be doing with Commander Cascade before we get back into that, or anything you want to kind of set up there?
I think, let's see, last time we saw her, she was like, slinking back to like the command ship, to the CIC of the Horizon Black. I think I'll clarify like what she's working on. That she's not just like, just being in staff for. I think it's a skeleton crew there at the moment, with like one or two. She sent off Sergeant Lagrange. Probably everyone's off at the Don Juan, because that's where everyone is. So instead, what she's working on is like, she is probably sending a bunch of emails communicating with the scientific community in the fleet. And she's sending them like some discrete, like sort of inquiries on whether mnemonics technology has advanced since the last time we saw them, in between the previous attack and any other occurrence of meeting with them before.
Brilliant. So there is a move for this. When you where are we?
Call for aid from a faction.
Yeah, when you call for aid from a faction, offer them a deal and roll smooth, or lean on your faction ties and roll your loyalty with them, which your loyalty with them will be 0 at the moment. So yeah, how are you going to approach them?
Trying to think how, because I think I mentioned in the first session that she was connected to them, or did I? No, that was probably my dreams. Never mind. Okay, so I'll offer them a deal. I think they are they're mildly disgraced. Well, I say mildly. They're the ones who sent off that probe that kind of poked the mnemonics and caused this whole thing. So they're not I think we established they were not in the best graces of the fleet, and I think what Commander Cascade's gonna offer is basically it's like an olive branch. Like, you look into this for me, and I'll consider having one of your people here at the CIC.
Yeah, that sounds good. Cool. So if you'd like to make me that roll with smooth, please.
Which is okay. It's just a flat roll. I love all these flat rolls, and I can mark pressure afterwards.
That's correct. Yeah, you can mark up to 3 pressure.
All right.
Although I don't believe you have that option.
No, but thankfully, I say thankfully, I rolled a 6, so I am going to mark that last one to bump that up to a 7.
Okay, excellent. So I think we'll come back on how that interaction plays out in a moment. But yes, that's cool. That gives me something to work on. And obviously, yes, that does take you up to 5 pressure, which does mean that you will at some point have to, well, I should say, until you mark a breaking point, you cannot use pressure or do anything that would either increase or reduce your pressure.
Cool.
But yes, we will. With that, we will go back to Porter and Soto on the Don Juan.
All right.
Apparently, there's some dogs on the San Juan, on the Don Juan. So I think where we last left off, like you were taking Yuan to like one of the newest shows or something, right?
Oh yeah. We were. Yeah, there was. I think it's sort of like a parody of some sort of military parade, like burlesque type thing, and that was also the bar where that took place is probably where. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna shush the pack.
No problem. He's smuggling dogs on the ship.
Have my whole family is here, and they brought their dog. It's, but yeah. So we went to this it's like burlesque type and all this all this kind of fun stuff, and that's probably where the folks I found to keep Talos entertained were.
Yeah. Whatchamacallit? Sorry, I still have a bit of a lingering cough. I think Yun is kind of torn between really enjoying it, but also being that type of person that'd be like, well, that costume's off, and they wouldn't do that, kind of, you know.
Yep.
But I think overall they're enjoying it, and would you be flitting about, or would you be hanging around, or?
I think so. I'm imagining that we were probably in the maybe the VIP section, and when I spotted Talos below, I probably I was like, I'll be right back, and I left you with some folks to keep you company or whatever. So you probably had to make some small talk. I don't know if you enjoyed that or not. And then I probably headed down, made sure Talos was taken care of, then came back up, and and probably I came back in. I'm like, oh, what a what a hunk that Talos. You got any good gossip on him?
He doesn't like to listen, so maybe he needs some disciplining.
Well, I left him in capable hands. We'll see if we can loosen some of his lug nuts, if you know what I mean.
And that's when you'll make the kill?
Well, and I probably shoo away some of the other folks that are in there. I'm like,
I take a sip of alcohol.
I don't know if I'm quite in a position to put myself in the position to reveal my cards to him quite yet. it's one thing to love a person as oneself, but in my current persona, it would be hard for me to fully indulge in that sort of type of relationship. And there's probably some ample shots, and I'll kind of raise an eyebrow and take a shot at that.
I think
But enough about me. No, go ahead.
No, I think I take a moment just to ponder that as I'm I mirror your shot and everything. I'm trying to think which move I want to do.
Yes.
I kind of want to call you on your shit in a loving way.
Do. Please do. Yeah.
So I ponder, I'm like you do have a point, and this is and I'm thinking in my head this is pretty uneven territory and everything, because you could get reprimanded if you were found out, because everything's under military rule.
Mm-hmm.
But I sigh and I look at you and I'm like, see, I might have taken that excuse when I first found out you were doing this, but you do know we can die at any moment, right? You do know the farce that you've been doing can only take you so far, and I can only protect you for so long. I'm lucky enough that I know someone like you here, that I have this sometimes place to come to. And yeah, I might get angry sometimes while at work, especially when arguing with the commander, but you don't have anybody else to rely on, and I can only do so much. Dear familia, for you. You need to get oh, am I gonna say it this way? Yes, I am. You need to get some vitamin D in you. Otherwise, this whole thing's gonna go to shit. Seriously.
All right. So are you rolling for that?
Yes. And just getting to the tab.
Cool. I like it.
So yeah. So for calling someone on their shit, you normally you would roll with hard, or if you want to sort of lean on your sort of existing relationship, you can roll with your relationship instead.
I could, but I got us 10, so I'll just use the hard for 11 because it's 10 plus anyways.
Fair.
So yeah, they must either do it or openly forcefully refuse and suffer the consequences. I'll mark pressure because I think I played on more on our emotions than our relationship.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Yeah. I think Porter kind of he takes it in, and he's like, Yunin, you know me very well, and if we were back on, I don't know what the name. What's the name of the colony where we're from?
I don't.
Did we determine that?
Other than it being a Latinx themed colony, I don't think we named it.
Yeah.
So you could feel free to name it.
All right. Let's call it. Let's see. We have Helm. Let's call it. Let's call it nothing's coming to me. Let's call it. What's Spanish for fox?
I don't remember. I should know this. Let's look it up real quick. Oh, I didn't realize that. It's Zoro.
All right. Yeah, we're from Zorro for sure.
I
Yeah,
love
that
it.
makes sense
Yes.
now. Yeah. If we Yunin, if we were back on Zorro, I would have no reservations pursuing that which I wanted. And that drive is kept that sort of confidence and boldness is the reason I've kept alive so far and why I'm here. But I can't risk it. I found we're living on the edge of a knife here, and I find instead of being free to accept the mortality that we all face every day, I've grown to fear it, and more, and I'm going to mark pressure, and I'm just going to be like, and I'm going to touch you on the arm, and I hope you don't think any less of me, Yunin, but there's a fear in me that, and I don't know where it comes from, and I'm just going to take another shot that's lined up on the table there, and I'm just kind of lean back, and I'm like, but enough about me. What can we do for you to help you relax? Who do you have your eye on?
I gotta sigh. I'm like, this is typical, but I let it go this time, because yeah.
Thank you.
And I think I kind of like point to a couple of like your employees that kind of look similar to a certain commander. But I don't exactly state that. But you might have picked up on that, and I think that's a good place to end the scene.
Yep. That's awesome.
Brilliant. Thank you both. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, also, I will say, you may well have been done already. I've not been paying attention, but whenever you mark pressure, do also mark point of XP as well.
Nice. Good.
Should that have been necessary? Cool. Right. So, yeah. You have got in touch with the basically they will they're not the there is a civilian ship called the Aurelius, which is it's basically sort of an observatory ship that is where the sort of the scientists are, where it's their ship essentially. It's not the captain of the ship per se, but it's the head of the expedition, who technically outranks the captain on the ship. Will sort of essentially will speak with you, Commander Cascade. Her name is Dr. Faith Adebayo. She is, as I said, she's sort of essentially the head of the scientific expedition. Well, at least the one aboard the Aurelius, which is probably the last of the kind of science directorate vessels left. Yeah, she will say, Commander Cascade, what is it you wish of us?
I think I send Commander Cascade will send in like the readouts and scans that the Horizon Black picked up, not naming who made those scans, and the ones that are much more close up that were done by the pilots. And she says, I want you and your whatever contingent you have that's not busy on your ship to look into these scans and find exactly what caused these discrepancies. I'm worried that the mnemonic fleet, or whatever you want to call them, they've begun developing safe countermeasures against what we can do. We already can't do much.
Well, Commander, it would of course be in all our interests to make sure there are no such vulnerabilities or strengths on their part, depending on how you wish to look at it, I suppose, that could undermine the safety of this fleet. I am sure that we can find something for you. If you are concerned that there is some interference with your sensor arrays, it would be useful for us to have a live uplink to your telemetry systems.
I think Commander doesn't even she dedicates 10 seconds to think, 5 seconds to think about that before she says, "Done, fine, whatever needs to be done."
Thank you. I will get one of our communications officers to get in touch and set up the necessary transfers. Thank you, Commander. We will, I hope, get to the bottom of this.
Well, thank you for your service, Dr. Adebayo. So the breaking point I'm going to pick is bury oneself in a project obsessively. This is going to play out throughout the session, basically.
Yeah, sure thing.
So as soon as that's kind of done, I think at somewhere there or before, I think she sent the offer to have one of your crew come over here. So the first thing she'll do is just start typing up a change log for crew. It's all right, we're adding one more person here, that sort of thing. So she's not leaving the CIC anytime soon.
Sure thing. And
do as I say,
so yes,
not as I do.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for hitting your breaking point, you will drop down to 2 pressure again, and you also mark XP for that, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yes, and then we will go. Well, now sort of our little pre-credit scenes done. We will go in and so first I will ask you, Commander Cascade, to roll with momentum to see how things are going for the fleet, as you have had a bit of a time for rest and recuperation. I've put your momentum up to 0 because that was probably fair in because you actually managed a fairly clean getaway from the roaches last time. So yeah, if you can just roll me a flat roll, please, and we'll see how that goes.
That's a 9.
A 9. You no, I always forget. Sorry, I need to. I'm still getting the hang of these ones. Yes, no, you can't spend you can't spend pressure on this one. I didn't think you could, because it doesn't really make sense. As it's a more out of character thing than anything else. But yes, so yes, I think, and this is probably actually we will probably start to see some of the results from your and Dr. Adebayo's research, as I think what we'll see is kind of a we'll get Dr. Adebayo sort of back on the communications again, to say, Commander Cascade, is this I am in fact, no, you think you'll get a communication saying, this Commander Cascade, I'm requesting permission to come aboard, if I may.
I think in normal circumstances, commander would probably ask for why exactly, or refer them back to Sergeant Lagrange because things are busy. But I think she'll just like, well, if Dr. Adebayo was going to say something, it's probably something important, so she'll approve that.
Yeah, and we'll we'll cut to a scene where obviously she's come aboard the vessel, and she will actually ask you, because this is a kind of a big civilian ship, and I think she asks to meet you there's like a big what was probably, well, I don't know if the ship was necessarily primarily a passenger ship, but I think there is a point that's like it's almost got like a little garden in it. It possibly actually serves like a what's the word I'm looking for? An actual purpose inside the ship's running. So possibly it's part of the oxygen recycling thing, not the entirety of it, but this is sort of hydroponic type garden. And she asks to meet you in there. And she says, I apologize for the somewhat eccentric method of communicating with you, but I believe that we have found something.
What sort of something, Doctor?
And she will pull out like a data pad. It's a fairly like you will notice it's a sort of fairly kind of restricted use looking data pad. It's like what it does seems to be fair. It is essentially just like a literal sort of computerized notebook sort of thing, and she will flick through a few screens and there show off some various sensor readings and stuff, and she'll say, we've found something quite disturbing. It was the sensor readings that the Horizon Black made were altered between the point of their the initial she'll sort of go through some stuff, talking about the actual process of the sensors themselves, but say we managed to access the hardware records in the actual sensor array themselves, and the message that they sent was, as would be expected from what was later found out, that the rock contained no meaningful resources, but between there and the sensor displays in the CIC, that message appears to have been intercepted and altered, leading us to believe that the roaches have in some way managed to infiltrate the electronic and technical systems aboard this ship.
Right. Wow.
And she'll sort of look around and say, I thought that's why I thought it was best that I tell you this in person rather than relaying it over communications.
Well, thank you for the foresight, Doctor. What you told me will stay between ourselves for now. How do you think the pneumatics, how do you think they managed to infiltrate our electronic systems? I thought we had those walled off in any way we could. You tell me they've been here this whole time?
It's quite possible. I could not detect any signs of an outside source delivering these. It certainly seems to be something within the ship itself.
So, either they've been lying in wait this whole time, or someone managed to snuck them in. Well, this information will stay between the two of us for now, Doctor. If the word gets out, I don't need to tell you who the people of the fleet would turn on first.
Of course, Commander.
Right. Well, thank you very much for the information, Doctor. I hope you and your team are taking a few breaks in between all this. I'm sure it's been a stressful time. He says while rubbing an eye.
Yeah. Of course, Commander, we will also, I suppose, well, I will wait on your word for it, but we have to accept the possibility that other ships may also have been compromised.
I think Commander Cascade will just think about it, because now I have to think about how she'd respond. I think she'll nod and she'll say, like, well, for the moment, keep it under wraps. Myself and anyone else we could trust will formulate a plan of action soon, and I'll be in touch. I'm sure there are places like these aboard the Aurelius as well.
Yes, we have some dedicated dead rooms in there.
Good. Well, I'll send over my aide de camp once we have a plan of action. For now, keep this to yourself and your team, Doctor.
Of course, Commander.
Yeah, and I think she'll probably head off first, and we'll get the shot amidst all these weird trees and whatnot. Commander Cascade thinking really, really hard on what the hell to do.
Awesome. And then, Porter, I believe you have a start of session move that we forgot about last time. But
yeah, no worries. yeah. So, yes, so I've taken the move compromised, which reads, you've done something that could get you into serious shit. Agree what it is with the GM. And then at the start of session, if you're not currently in the middle of trying to throw someone off the scent, roll with smooth. On a hit, you're offered an opportunity nobody ever would ever give you if they knew. Mark XP and erase one pressure if you take it. So let's see. I will roll with smooth then. Okay. That's a 5 plus 1 is 6, and I will. Yeah, I'll mark a pressure to bump that to a 7.
Sure thing.
All right. So on a 7. Oh, wait, on a 7 or less. Oh, on a 7 or less. All right. I'm going to mark 2 pressure to bring that to an 8.
Yeah. I'm going to actually look at the move. That might be a typo in there.
Oh, okay.
I'll just have a quick.
It says it on the yeah. It says it on the reference docs as well.
Yeah, that could be
I don't know.
typo, because that's
Could
weird.
be. Yeah, that is unusual.
So I'm losing. Where are we? Gemini. That's
Gemini.
You've done something. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a typo.
I think so.
But yeah, below 7.
Yeah. So I'll bump it to a 7 then by marking pressure. So 7.
Yeah. Cool. And yes, that is a move. I also wasn't sure if that was maybe a move that you couldn't spend pressure on, but you can, so that's cool.
Would have been interesting otherwise, but we'll put off too much pressure at the start of the session.
Yeah. So I think your it's probably by this point a couple of days have passed since the battle, and it's actually been a period of relatively it's been relatively calm for the last few days, at least in terms of there's not been any actual attacks by the pneumatics. It's and there will be a you'll get kind of the notification of like an incoming hail, and it is your old friend. Sorry, I'm blanking on them. It's going to Tafer son. Is getting in touch. Captain Malik, I hope you are doing well.
As ever, Tefa, and you?
I have few complaints.
Good to hear. You should stop by the Don Juan sometime. We don't see you very often.
Yes. It is funny you should say that, actually. I am arranging a fleet meeting, a meeting of the captains.
Wonderful.
And a couple of individuals have suggested that this time we may hold the meeting aboard the Don Juan. Is that too? Do you think you would be able to accommodate us?
Oh, well, it's a bit short notice, but I think we can rustle up some accommodations and have a welcome fit for the captains of the fleet for sure. Don't worry, Tefa.
Thank you. They nod and you know they're clearly like you can tell that they were obviously not. This wasn't their idea, and you have no doubt that they would have far preferred to.
Oh yeah,
hold the meeting on their own ship, but yeah. Well, thank you. I will send over the list of invitees, and well, I'm sure I don't need to tell you what needs to be done.
Oh, no problem. We will. Well, I haven't had a chance to use the ballroom in some time, so we'll have the Lord Byron ballroom, fit for people of our standing for sure. No expense will be spared, Tefa. It will be, even you will be impressed. Just kidding. Little teasing.
Yes. Well, thank you, Captain.
Captain.
Yeah, and they will end in communication. So yes, the sort of the guest list they send over is it's as you described, it's basically all the captains of the different ships, including the commanders of the military ships. So Commander Cascade and Admiral Bullard.
Perfect. Lovely. Excellent. Yes, and I think like as soon as I get off the phone, I'm calling a meeting of my most loyal folks, both on the Don Juan and also my my sort of followers that my political followers that I get with my move followers that are associated with the political sort of, I don't know, not resistance, but the what did we call them? The political, what was it? Activists, the activists amongst the civilians, and I'm getting them in a room, like ASAP. Like, I don't care where you are, get here. We have some big plans, and when they come in, I'm just kind of giving them the lowdown. We have everyone that has any power within this damn fleet. We need to wine them, dine them, and while that's going on, we need to learn every single piece of dirt we can possibly leverage against them should shit go sideways for us. I want to know who they're interested in, what they like eating, what they've done, what they're ashamed of, what they're looking forward to, everything, and especially Tefa. That I haven't. We need. She is. They are going to be the biggest pain in our butt if we're trying to reform this in a sort of direct the future of this fleet and humanity, as it were. So I'm really letting them know this is important.
Awesome, sounds good. So I just flipped the mute the wrong way. Cool. And sorry, I'm just checking. No, you didn't actually hit a move there, did you? With the followers notice.
I mean, maybe the followers is they give me +1 ongoing when I involve them in it. I don't know if it's a seek something hidden role.
I suppose actually, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, no, we can do that now. That would make sense. I think that you can have them sort of start doing stuff on the various ships to get some information out. So yeah, go for it.
Okay, so that's with Sharp, and then when I involve my allies, that's plus my followers, that's +1. So that's just going to be just a straight +1 on that. Yep. So, and that is going to be a 9.
A 9, excellent.
So, okay.
So yeah, when you.
So on a hit, you find it, and then you can offer me something extra if I choose one. If you offer me one of those items. Oh, I have to choose one of those. Okay,
yeah. So on the 7-9, you have to choose one.
Yep.
Anyway. I think I can offer you something extra if you also choose an additional one. I think that works. But
okay. I think you attract someone's attention. You implicate a friend or ally. You found it, but something stands between. I think what's most likely or most interesting is someone notices my digging around. I'm involving a lot of people, and not all of them are going to get away with it perfectly. So I'm attracting unwanted attention, I think.
Sure thing. Yeah, cool. I'll have some thoughts on that. So yeah, cool. That's cool. So yes, I think what you will find out about Tefa is that they yeah, I think that that Tefa's vessel was obviously one of the ones that was involved in evacuating people. Mm-hmm. It's got the biggest concentration of people on it, essentially, that are certainly as far as you're aware, it has the largest concentration of human population left in the universe. Yeah. And like the ship is like it's big, it's designed to carry a lot of people, and it's definitely running towards capacity. But what you find out, and this is something that's obviously being kept quiet amongst the crew is the fact that basically Teffa, well, whilst doing the evacuation, essentially bottled it. They probably could have stayed docked longer and taken more people, but they kind of got to the point where no, we're leaving now, and yeah.
Teffa. That is beautiful. I love it.
Cool.
Oh, yes. Cool.
Yeah, so Soto, what do we see Soto doing? Probably, I imagine, on the back on the Horizon Black by this point.
Yeah, Soto doesn't tend to stay much on the Don Juan, one, because they don't want to raise suspicions about their character, and two, they get paranoid when they're away from the ship and not working. As much as they do love spending time with their dear friend. I think after after having a bit of downtime and actual rest and everything, it still kind of rankles them about the whole oh, you must have misread the readings and the loadouts and everything. So while they're not on the bridge or anything, I think they're in a what would ever be considered a community space where people are either playing games or chatting, whatever, but they're on a pad, poring over the logs of the last couple of weeks. Kind of that's their other way of relaxation. Is to see where did I actually go wrong and everything, especially considering the fact that our ace pilot mangled their ship, and that's not usual. So seeing
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, what I will say is that what you will definitely be able to, because you're spending some time doing this, what you will find out a similar sort of thing to what was mentioned earlier. Not quite in as much detail as Dr. Adebayo got, but you will notice, that it definitely wasn't, a mistake with your reading the view screen. You access the view screen, essentially the ship sensors logs, and they definitely say what you thought they said. But also the sensor scan from Talos's ship definitely show that what they showed. So there's definitely a discrepancy there that wasn't like you said, you not reading the screen right. However, I will also ask you to make a roll to discover something hidden. I might be phrasing that wrong. What's it called? So you got something well hidden. So a sharp roll, please.
So that'll be a flat roll for me. A 9.
A 9, cool.
Better than last time.
This will be the same as just we just had for Porter. So you will get some information, but you will also have to choose one of the options from that list. So if you want to think about those, but I will tell you that the information that you find out is you notice that as of a day or so ago, basically the sensor readings from the ship are being shared with the Aurelius.
Okay. I think. I'm trying to think. I feel like I probably don't have any bad blood with the Aurelia ship, so I don't over suspect them or anything. But and then for the what I choose, I don't know I'm implicating, right? Or I don't Like this is technically something that's a result of what's happening, right?
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds fair.
I want
So
to, yeah, because I want to implicate a friend or ally, because since this is the last session and everything. But obviously, I'm not doing it on purpose to implicate a certain someone who tends to interact with everybody on the fleet, almost everybody.
yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, I'm just thinking how that would look.
It could
Yeah,
be
I think
if it's extra information. It could be maybe I'm using like either I had contacted either I contacted him like, hey, you have spies. I know you have
yeah,
spies, and that maybe got recorded to somebody, or
yeah,
it wasn't as
that
secure
makes
as a
sense.
channel.
That makes sense. I think maybe you had to it was maybe like the like you couldn't tell exactly where you could tell there was this like essentially communication leak. You weren't sure where it was coming from, and yeah, you went to one of Porter's people for them to do the kind of the technical magic to it to make it readable. Yeah, that sounds good.
And I don't know about the captain's meeting, right? Or would that be dependent on whether Alice telling me? Elisa, I'm sorry.
You may have. I mean, you don't know what happened. There's a good chance that you will have that you can be aware that that Dr. Adebayo was on the ship the other day. That's not something that was particularly hidden. And I presume it's something that you pay a certain amount of attention to, people coming and going on the ship.
Yeah, I might have sent like a message that like, yeah, I was like, oh, the doctor was on board. Is everything like, are you fit for captaincy? And it's kind of like a tease to Elisa, but like, also, yeah. So I would have sent, once I figured that out, I was like, yeah, I would have sent a message like that to Commander Lisa since I'm on my off time.
I think the response you get is like, well, there's no response, and then you see Sergeant Lagrange kind of stomp into the the break room, and she's basically instead of messaging you, Elisa basically sent their aide to come get you.
Oh, what could I have done this time? I was actually on my break, even as I like, hide the windows of like all my research. um, and then yeah, I'll follow. I'll just like roll my eyes and follow Lestrade.
Yeah. Actually, is it okay if I call for a break now? Because I really need to use the toilet.
No, that's fine. I was going to in a moment anyway. So yeah, we can call that now, and yeah, see you all back in about 5 minutes.
Perfect.
Thanks very much.
Cool. Welcome back, everyone. Yes. So yes, we'll cut back into that scene with Soto being summoned to see the commander.
Yeah, so it's back at her office, which is at her quarters, I guess. I think this time, Commander Cascade is slumped behind her desk, and I think I think Sergeant Lagrange is like almost very practiced as soon as she's ushered you in. Commander Cascade is kind of like staring at something on her desk. There's like a bunch of papers and data pads, and she's tapping a cigar on her right hand. And I don't know, I get a feeling this Captain Soiree or whatever the hell is going to happen in a Don Juan when Porter sent invitations. I'm assuming invitations have been sent by now, if that's okay. Yeah, so imagine the customary chocolates and cigars have come in. So there's an open box of chocolates, and for once she's holding one of those cigars. And I think Sergeant Lagrange doesn't say anything. She just slides a data pad into Commander Cascade's open left hand, and that motion kind of like wakes the commander up, and she just says like, "Good work, Sergeant Lagrange. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to speak with Lieutenant Soto in private."
Of course, Commander. And she salutes and marches out.
I don't know why I guess this happens whenever. This is probably one of the reasons why she doesn't go to the Don Juan too often. She gets a little cheeky, so she kind of does like a mock salute back to Legrand as she leaves. I swear, it's Porter influencing. I just raised an eyebrow. I wasn't working. What? And I hope you didn't infer that message as being. And I just make a hand motion.
I think I think that goes over Lisa's head. I don't know if she picks up on that. So she just says like, "Lieutenant Soto, I fear that our fleet may be faced with a grave danger at the moment, and I believe that when such thing is in the offing, you would not mind being taken off break, unless." And she kind of looks up, and you can see like she's quite weathered at the moment. Unless if you think I was infringing on anything in that case, then in that case I apologize, and you can be off your merry way.
I think I take a moment and I realize like something's definitely off, especially because I don't think I see. I don't, as much as I know you do work hard. I don't think I've probably ever seen you this haggard looking. And the fact that you've actually touched one of the disgusting cigars that Porter sends, I stand a little straight and like kind of like fidget with my uniform. No, I guess I still have a bit of the influence from the Don Juan in me. You know, it's one of the reasons why I rarely ever go there. It's too much decadence down there. Porter has way too much your cousin has way too much time on his hands. But no, if this has a fleet importance, I think I take a step forward.
I think she gestured for you to sit down. There's like a seat from the desk. The cigar is unlit. She's just holding it in her hand. It's kind of like
So yeah.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be
sit.
tapping it on the desk too vigorously. It's probably a really nice cigar. And I think she hands you the data pad that Sergeant Lagrange gave her, and you can see like it's like the same sort of like readings that you've been looking. And she says that, "I'm sorry if I implied it last time we talked, but just to confirm it, I knew for a fact that whatever happened at the last attack wasn't your fault. You're far too good to let yourself off the hook if it was your fault. You care too much to let yourself off the hook."
I appreciate that. I did take your words to heart. Sometimes overworking will make you miss minor mistakes that you wouldn't if you weren't properly rested. But it is good to know, and this at least aligns with what I've been researching to what I believed was true at the time. Are you sure?
Uh,
Are you sure we can trust what's on the other ship, though? Not to say anything of the crew, of course, but
I think when you say like you take your words hard about overworking, she kind of like nods approvingly and not getting at all that this should probably apply to her as well. And when you say like, yeah, whether to trust what's being said by the crew, she's just kind of like, that's when she kind of like lets out a sigh and kind of like leans back in the chair. And it's actually a nice chair, the kind of chair you'd want to lean back on. And she says, I've thought of the possibility. After all, our scientific community were the first to come into contact with them, and they're the ones who told me of their findings, that we've been infiltrated, that our electronic systems have been compromised. But then who's to say they've not been compromised? I've run the circles, I've done the calculations, Lieutenant Soto, and frankly, it has led me around in circles.
I can see. This is troubling. I mean, taking it at face value, we cannot live without electronics unless we find a suitable planet that the pneumatics can't find us on. Have they suggested any way to determine?
I've asked them to keep the information mum, so to speak. So only a few of theirs, yourself and the sergeant, should know for the moment. I would ask if there's any countermeasures, but again, if they were propagating this information, then whatever countermeasure I've asked of them would be moot at the moment. I'm a bit stumped.
Well, how can we? And I think sort of like leans back. Are you willing to trust one more person?
I think what did you say? Depends on the person.
Your dear cousin. I have on good authority they know a little bit more about subterfuge and such, and they might have a better idea on how we can possibly detect what is real and what is not with the pneumatic devices. Let's just say they've done a good job of ensuring they toe the line of what's legal on their ship when it comes to electronics. And I smile as I say that.
Yeah. Because say cousin and I at the moment, like she tenses a bit.
Of course, it's merely a
And I think,
suggestion. I mean, you know your family better than most.
truth be told, I barely know him at all. I know of him. I know of what he does. Frankly, the fact that he knows me well enough to know what kind of chocolate I prefer, and they wave the cigar at the open box of chocolates. It's mostly white chocolate. The fact that he would know me well enough, while I know only of his name and what he does, is it's a bit disturbing. But I'll take your point. He straddles lines. Therefore,
Plus, a fresh
that
eyes on this, someone who hasn't been directly into the minutia of these damn pneumatics, it might help. And of any of the civilians, probably him would be best.
I think they kind of Cascade kind of like sighs again and picks up another data pad. There's like a stack of them. For some reason in this fleet, data pads don't refresh. There's one for the newspaper.
Just like
there's
just
one
like in
for-
Star Trek. There's always like a pad of pads around.
Yeah, little pads. I think they tease out one, and it's the invitation to this to the Lord Byron ballroom. Jesus Christ. Well, I have an opportunity to meet with him soon, I suppose. And given the clandestine nature of all these, what better to meet him in a party?
He
Given
actually
I was
invited you. I go in shock before like not realizing it wasn't him technically. Like, finally.
Well, I was going to bring Sergeant Lagrange, someone I could trust, but given that you know him better than I do, you wouldn't mind coming along, do you, Lieutenant Soto?
Not at all. I mean, is this business or pleasure? Like, just making sure. I mean,
I think he gives you a look and kind of like slightly lean forward and say like, I've always ensured to keep those two separate. I don't know the wisdom of mixing both. But if you figured out how, I think they did. They don't know how to. They don't know. They say that and they don't know how to finish that sentence.
and like, you didn't taking this seriously because obviously anything to do with the mnemonics is very serious. But at the same time, an opportunity like this doesn't happen very often. Sometimes you get more information when you mix it up a bit, relax a little bit. People tend to get it a little bit more open that way. So, despite the business aspect of this, maybe dress up a little. Have one more drink than you normally would. And the other captains might reveal something that they normally wouldn't have.
Huh. Trying to think how she'd react to this because I don't think this is this Lieutenant Soto reaching out, or should I? Oh, do I have to do that?
Yeah, I was trying to look at the. Yeah, I think I am reaching out. You do matter to me, even though I don't admit it openly.
No, likewise. No, it was very clearly likewise.
Yeah. So, are you good? So I have to ask you first. Are you responding positively to my suggestions?
Yeah, I think she's giving you a look, the kind that's like, where she's considering what you're saying as if like she's heard people tell her to loosen up all this time, but partially because there's also the matter of threat. But it's because I don't know, you're never one to stifle bullshit. She's actually listening for once, so
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm actually not saying it sarcastically, or I'm actually like genuinely like, just not the way I usually act in front of you, insubordinately almost on the bridge. Okay, so it says roll with warm, but I'm gonna roll with relationship since I'll actually give me a +1. 8, so that makes it a 9.
Nice.
Do I want to take?
Oh, you can't because there's an
no,
asterisk to basically you can't take pressure
yeah.
for this.
So yeah, 9.
So on a 79, choose one of who erases pressure.
Yes. So yeah, you get to. So yeah. Sorry. Yes. So Soto, you get to decide. One of you gets to reduce their pressure by 1, and you both increase your relationship by 1.
Can Can you go below 2 pressure, or is it always like one of those kind of
Oh
minimum
yeah,
things?
you can go below 2 pressure, but when you use a breaking point, that just drops you back to 2 pressure. But you can
Okay,
drop below that with moves. Yeah.
so I'll give it to Lisa since yeah,
Oh, you want to hit that breaking point, do you?
maybe, and we gain a relationship point.
Mhm.
Besides, you're always uptight, so.
Do you say that out loud?
No.
Okay, all right, good. Well, I think Commander Cascade though. I think her response is just like she doesn't smile, but you can tell there's a hint of her wanting to smile if she wasn't so tired. So smiling takes effort. She says like, "I'll take all that into consideration, Lieutenant. At the very least, I can ask Porter why the hell he thinks I like cigars."
They're an acquired taste. I don't care for them, but these chocolates, and I'll go and reach slowly to see if you'll let me take a white chocolate.
Yeah, she'll let you.
Okay. I mean, you could always use those to bribe some of the pilots to maybe act better on their behavior.
Fine, I'll send some to Talos. Maybe that'll cool him down.
Yeah, he needs. I don't know if that's exactly what he needs to cool down on, but that'll work for now. I say very mysteriously. Especially if you tell him it's from Porter.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
I think. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to this scene other than she'll
I think
raise an eyebrow at that.
Yeah, I think I'll stand up. I'll do a proper salute. Let me know when we are to disembark, and I'll keep
Oh,
all this.
actually, there's one more thing. She was
Oh,
gonna
okay.
do. She'll stand up and salute as well, and she says, "Lieutenant Soto, whatever happens, whether I don't know, we figure out this threat or." Apparently, I'm meant to be drinking and having fun or something. Whatever happens, Lieutenant Soto, I do want you to know that you're one of the damn best officers we have here on this ship, and I'm counting on you.
Are
This is
you
me.
reaching that?
No, this is me doing my
Oh,
move.
using
Don't
your
let me
move.
down.
Oh, okay, nice,
When you set high expectations for someone, roll plus warm.
awesome.
All right, I'm gonna swap out my relationship for you because that's a +2. Because my warm is just a +1. 8, 9. All right. So on a strong hit, which I think they mean on a hit, you're gonna hold 2, and you can spend your hold to gain +1 on a roll to meet those expectations, which is ridiculously broad. One of the best damn officers on this ship, on this fleet. I could narrow it down if you want, David. But basically, I think what it means is like helping her out with this threat. So any move
With the threat,
that can be
okay.
done.
Yeah, that
So
sounds
not,
good.
so not let loose.
Darn.
So if you succeed in meeting those expectations, they erase 1 pressure and I mark an XP. But on 7 to 9, the same, but you have to mark 1 pressure right now.
That's fine.
And you get XP as well.
Do I get XP?
Yeah, whenever you mark pressure. You get
Oh,
XP.
that's right. You're right. I keep forgetting that.
Excellent, thank you. So yeah, I think we'll probably just frame over to the gathering aboard the Don Juan. Yeah. So, Porter, how does the Lord Byron room look when people start to arrive?
Oh, it is elegantly decorated. I believe the theme is I think we're going with sort of like an upscale sort of rave sort of look. So a lot of neon colors in a very tasteful way, and it's sort of like sort of like a retro futuristic look to it. A very theatrical, as is my wont, and a table set up. I've been very careful based on the dirt I've found to place certain folks at certain tables. We have raided the last of the dried, aged, cured meats. We have probably what is maybe the last charcuterie board in the entire galaxy, and probably the last of the cheeses too. I'm really counting on this being a very important night where I want everyone to enjoy themselves and everyone to remember who their good friend is on the Don Juan. And I'm probably there greeting everyone, making sure everyone gets to their seat. I am probably wearing quite an ostentatious. I think I'm going to go. I'm trying to keep it professional, so I probably got some sort of suit, but it's got bright colors, and maybe even some technology bits, some lights and things on it. I'm imagining it quite startling to the uninitiated. And so and we've got some great mood music, something upbeat but not too overwhelming, and we're mingling, having fun.
That sounds perfect. I think if you want to anyway, I think you can probably count this as your letting loose by indulging yourself in a fancy or rakish way.
Yes,
because whilst you're
definitely.
not like, whilst normally to let loose you have to kind of go to kind of lose yourself in it, as it were. I think in this instance, because you're sort of putting such a big show on, I think that feels fair.
Yeah, I'm certainly losing myself in the setup, in all of that, like every facet of it, I would say. So yeah, let's do that. That's it's an 11 plus smooth is that's a 12.
Perfect. So on a hit, on a 10 plus, you choose one option from the list below, and decide the details of it. I believe you also get to add a couple of other options.
Yes. Let's see what is the most interesting. You promise you make a promise you should. Yeah, I'm gonna say someone else joins in, takes it too far, and gets into trouble.
Nice.
And do I get to decide who it is?
You get to decide the details for it. Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Commander Cascade, would you be okay if you get a little bit too excited about how much fun this is, considering you haven't really blew off steam in quite a long time?
I'm trying to think, because I think I would be interested that if not for this threat hanging over me.
Up to you. If not, I will be happily get Teffa in trouble.
Yeah, I think if there wasn't a threat, I think I would have been less reticent about it, because if she didn't know there was a threat, I don't think she would. I mean, she would try to let loose. Like, honestly, I think she'll probably take you up on a dance of some sort later.
Okay.
But yeah, I think she's still way too guarded to like properly let herself go
Very
one
fair.
drink. When Lieutenant Soto said take one more drink than usual, that means one drink, just one.
Yep.
I figured
Alright,
as
perfect.
much that
Yeah.
it would be just the one drink.
Yeah, so I would say I think so. I finally crack Teffa, and I think we find out that they, despite putting on a Puritan, very business all the time look, they just needed a little prodding to let loose, and I think they are having the time of their lives, and I think they're maybe warming up to me a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. Perfect, thank you. And you also get to erase one pressure just for making a hit on that roll as well.
Beautiful. We'll take it. Man, I'm dealing with that pressure well.
Okay, so yeah, I think, yeah, okay, so yeah, I think Teffa is maybe a little more merry than normal, and so I think the kind of like the business of the day gets kind of forgotten for a little while. But yeah, I think I would quite like to see, for the moment, I would like to see Commander Cascade and Porter getting a chance to talk. If you're happy with that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. What's Porter wearing?
It is, yeah, it's a, for all intents and purposes, it is a suit, but it is quite striking. It's probably multicolored. It's probably a bit shimmery. It probably is prismatic in that you can kind of, depending on what angle and what light you're in, it looks a little bit. It could look a little bit different, and kind of no necktie or anything, but he's probably got some sort of something frilly to replace a bow tie or a necktie, and I think he's got a tipped cap, maybe a top hat of some sort. Yeah, he's pushing. He's wearing a professional attire, but like only by the tightest of threads there. He's really showing off.
Yeah. Lisa's giving you a look of concern because she came in like her best sort of dress uniform, I guess. It's very much the kind of like imperial military jacket sort of style. Although she's taken out the medal. She doesn't have any medals. So she has a few, but she doesn't like showing them off. It's black and gold mostly, so it's like it's a black sort of suit, but like gold buttons and lining, and got the you gotta have those epaulettes over there, of course, and gloves and whatnot. And she's giving you a concerned look, as I don't know, as you sashay your way.
It depends. Yeah, it's he moves in a way that would probably makes you slightly like, that's not how we walk in the military.
I think Soto just like quickly tells Cascade like, so this is you dressing down, huh? Like in a teasing.
I was told it was going to be a party. I thought to dress nice.
Well, yeah, you probably. I think you. So you two, did you two enter together?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, so I probably, yeah, you see me coming over, and we do our usual greeting. Yunin, I don't know if you're a little embarrassed with your commander there to greet me like an old friend. I don't know. I mean, you mentioned to the commander to bring me in on something, but I don't know. Does he know how close we are, or does she know how close we are?
I don't think I've indicated it very often. Like, like just enough to be like, well, that would be the reason I would go to the Don Juan, because I don't want to put off
Yeah.
that whole I have fun because I'm very but I'm there
Gotcha.
to,
Gotcha.
kind of thing. So I think I do greet you. It is a little bit more stiffer than normal,
Sure.
partly because
Sure. Cool.
yeah,
I get
Elisa's
it.
there and everything. And as we hug, I'm like, you couldn't have worn anything more flashy.
Oh, all my other clothes are at the dry cleaner, unfortunately.
And for the sake of the video, I put.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. For the sake of the video, since I posted the link, Soto decided to dress up and not be in military. So he's wearing a very mariachi-like kind of jacket, but with nice slacks and everything. And because it was rave, the threads in the flowers part of the jacket, the embroidery, they kind of react a little bit to the music. So, but it's very subtle, but and everything, and
Love it.
yeah, and so has let down her hair, sort of it's a little bit styled than just usually straight slicked back and everything. Might be for a reason, but yeah, and a touch of makeup.
Love it.
Yeah, Porter mentions dry cleaning, and Elisa makes a note to check on dry cleaning supplies in the Don Juan, just to make sure provisions are not being used up.
Yeah, and I think I think Porter, after greeting Yunin, will turn to the commander and be like, I haven't met many of my cousins in a while, and I'm wondering if it would be appropriate for us to embrace as well. And I kind of open up for a hug.
I think there's a couple of seconds of pause, and Elisa, I think she meant to whisper this out, but it's so loud, so she just have to shout it out, just well, we're family. Okay, I'm not gonna shout it out. Of the room. Well, I guess since we're family, and she will awkwardly let you hug her. I don't know. And then she'll just pat you in the back.
It's so good to have
I
you
might
here
have
and
subtly
yeah.
taken out my pad and taken a picture of that.
Your picture pad, yeah.
Beautiful. And and Porter will just be like, I'm so glad to finally have you here. I do. Yunin tells me how hard you all work over on the ship, and I do worry about your health. So I trust you've been getting my chocolates and cigars. I hope that's keeping you at least a little bit, personally and spiritually charged. But now that we're here, we're gonna have a lovely time, and you just let me know if there's anything you need, cousin.
Well, there is something the two of us require, but I think she'll look around and see Tefa is throwing shapes of some sort over there, and probably all the other captains are there.
Yeah, I'm afraid I went a little bit. I was a little bit generous with drinks and such for the opening of this important meeting. Hopefully, we can wrangle the cats later for some serious business. I'm sure.
I'm sure. But I did come on serious business. If you don't think you'll dampen your mood, perhaps we could talk privately.
Oh no, of course not. Me? What an honor it would be to have the ear of the most important person in this entire fleet. The person responsible for keeping us all safe and allowing such celebrations to happen.
There's things she wants to say to this, but instead she'll just keep mum, and she'll just nod stiffly, and she'll say, "We'll talk soon, but I suppose I should Do as everyone else here does for the moment.
Shall I get you a
Perfect.
drink, Commander?
No need. I'll get it myself. And they'll probably like stalk away, just give you two a moment to talk,
Yeah.
and like just try to get over herself.
Yeah, I think Porter, as you walk away, Porter will turn to Yoon and be like, "My goodness, they are truly darling."
I knew you two would get along smashingly.
And at that, he kind of like he's still got this smile, and it slowly kind of fades, and he just kind of looks at you, and he's just like, I feel terrible. They do seem quite nice, and what I'm doing is
You're doing what we need to survive. You must remember that. As much as I sometimes disapprove of your ways, you are providing a service. And I think they need it just as badly as anybody else.
well, that's what I tell myself, but it means a whole hell of a lot more coming from you, and I hope you mean it, because I certainly don't always mean it when I tell it to myself. And yeah, I think that's a reach out for sure. So
Okay.
that 7 plus our relationship at 3, that's a 10.
Nice.
So are you reacting positive? You're reacting positively,
yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Subtly
So-
positively, because yeah.
Okay. So can erase. We both erase one pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I'll never get
All
a
right.
chance to break down that.
Yeah.
Um,
we're all too good friends.
Yeah.
I'm just going to check if you're you might reset your relationship if it would go over 3.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to double check on that.
I think I was checking that earlier because I was trying to figure out how relationships like change or go down. I don't think it goes down. You can just choose to sever it. So I think it just stays.
No,
at
yeah,
3.
you're.
Yeah, I don't think it goes down.
No, that's it doesn't. I couldn't remember if it was one of these ones where once it hit 3, it like went back to
Yeah.
1 and you got XP or something. But no, it doesn't. Sorry, it's if your relationship does ever drop, then you take a point of pressure for that relationship drop as well. But yeah,
Every
cool.
level it goes down.
Awesome. So the business of the evening, I think, will begin, and Teffa does not have quite the usual control over affairs as they are wont to do, and a lot of it will be fairly well, I mean, it's not insignificant because, like I said, everything is kind of heightened at the moment, but it's fairly mundane stuff that's talked about, as which rationing out supplies between the different ships, and all this sort of stuff, the kind of the very nuts and bolts stuff that is required to keep the fleet functional, essentially, that is discussed. Nothing super interesting there. Does anyone have a particular agenda they wish to bring up as part of this meeting?
Yes. Yeah, Porter, after, as things are progressing, he would like to broach the topic of bringing in more representation into this council, and creating and kind of kind of hinting at like this ship's captain's council has never meant to, like, it's become increasingly clear we're going to be on the run for a while, and while this ship's captain's council has been a good stopgap and probably the easiest sort of way to organize, it is quite lacking when it comes to being a political structure. And as it becomes more clear that we're going to be out here longer, he wants to kind of put the bee in everyone's ear that we should be considering a more formal and sort of democratic structure to this whole arrangement.
Mhm.
And I don't know how that will go over.
Yeah, so I think, because I don't think there's like a specific move that encompasses this, but I think what I'm going to do is kind of drop something from earlier. And I think as you've made this speech, Admiral Bullard, who's actually for an admiral is relatively young. He's probably in his 50s, but he's he's also in his like full dress uniform, complete with a sort of silly hat, because he's an admiral, and
Beautiful.
even in the far future, you can't escape a silly hat as an admiral. And he will stand and say, we are at war and have little enough time for these fripperies as is. And if it were anyone else here, I would still feel the need to dismiss it, but, and he will sort of stare at you directly, Porter. He'll say, I have reason to believe that you are actively seeking to undermine the safety and cohesion of this fleet. I have reports here that you and your people have been illicitly tapping into military communications. And I ask, what reason have you for this?
Admiral, I am well educated in what is acceptable in polite society, and I assure you I would never tap into military communications. My purview is purely outside the military. It's keeping morale up and keeping folks happy. If folks were tapping in, it was not under my command. I'm simply a provider of escapes. I'm not a political beast like that would do such a thing.
Excellent. And I think I will ask you to roll to cover up, please.
Yes. Okay, here we go. That is a 7 + 1 is an 8.
Okay, so on an 8, I've lost my place again. Yeah, on the 7 to 9. Sorry, on the 7 to 9, I choose.
Yes.
So, I think that you must give concrete assurance, provide some additional corroboration, or do something extra to throw them off.
Oh, interesting. Admiral, I assure you, my intentions are not to undermine the authority or the cohesion of the military. I have many friends amongst the military, and it is you all that are keeping us safe. I am merely concerned that some of us within the civilian government are, dare I say, out for themselves and not for the best intentions of the fleet. And I admit I have some little birds just gathering information. It has nothing to do with the military, but if we might have a private audience, I believe I could let you know that there are certain amongst us that are bad for business, so to speak. And I'm willing to share that information with you, Admiral.
Very well. I will hear what you have to say, Captain, and he will kind of glance around the room. I still cannot endorse your plans of further confusing the running of this fleet, but I will not stand in your way.
I want to roll Thrives Under Pressure to see.
Yeah, by all means.
Because, yeah, it was like, does this have to do with what I was inquiring about? So, I get a +1 on that, which makes it 11.
Nice.
So I get the whole
So,
2, an additional 2. Nice. +2. Spend.
so yes, yeah, you can spend the whole to ask questions and take +1 forward if you act on the answers.
Yeah. I want to know what vulnerability I can exploit through Ballard.
Yeah, so he was obviously like trying to make a power play here, and he's obviously been kind of rebuffed a bit because I guess he was kind of hoping that Porter would just back down, and that's kind of thrown him off balance a bit. So he's definitely he personally is is slightly off balance, and there's definitely an opportunity if you can make him look weaker in front of the other civilian pilots here. It will the civilian captains here. It will definitely make him it will dull his voice in council, certainly.
Okay, so I'm trying to think which of these moves is better. Well, that one's for battle, so that doesn't count. So then I'm gonna yeah, because I wanted to use 0 compromises, but no, that's mainly for battle. So I'm gonna call him on a ship because since he's been my antagonist probably this entire time, so I turned to him like, we may be at. We're not exactly at war, Admiral. We're running away and trying to stay alive. And part of trying to stay alive is to remember what humanity is. And despite some of the extravagances, and this is something Porter's used to always saying, this ship helps. It relieves the pressure so that we all don't fall apart at any given moment here. And if you're worried about what's happening on your ship, that has to do with you and the way you command. If you think there's a breakdown going on. And I shall roll. And hopefully I'll get a good roll.
Yep. So yeah, you'll be rolling with either hard or your relationship with the admiral, and you get the +1 from that from your back against the wall move as well.
I rolled another 10, so I'm good.
Perfect. Yes. So on a 10 up on call them on their shit. So yeah, tell them what their problem is and what they need to do to convince you otherwise.
So I think, how do I say it? On top of what I just said, Admiral, maybe we should have the head, and I point to Elisa, do, what do you call it? When you look over an organization, like when you do, there's a word I'm thinking of.
A review, an audit.
Yeah, an audit. I think audit. Like maybe we should have an audit done on your crew and on your technology to ensure that everything's on the up and up, and you're not just putting blame on some civilian because it's convenient.
And he glares at you, says, I am not accustomed to being spoken at this way, Lieutenant. And I would ask you to keep your counsel in future till it is deserved. You are lucky that you are not in uniform. And then he lets out a sigh and he says, but I suppose there is some merit to what you said, if not the way you said it. And he will say, turn and say, you, Commander, I wish you to undertake a full review of the readiness of the crew and material of this fleet and see that all is in order. Well, and I think with that he's actually going to leave, basically, and so, well, I hardly think I need spend any more of my time here, captains. And he kind of stands and gives a quick nod. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'll probably wait. And if he's leaving, he's gonna leave. I think I'll just like nod at him when he said that he's turning over his ship for a review, and I just say like noted. And then he kind of leaves. I'm gonna stand up and say that, and say, while personally I admire what Admiral Bullard has brought to this fleet in terms of its readiness against any threat, I would like to remind himself and everyone else here that though we may be categorized as a fleet, that does not make us a military force. First and foremost, we are a community. We are a group of people banded together by desperate circumstances. And so we all need to play our part in that. And equally important to this fleet are its civilians. For if we are just a military force, then we're nothing, because what we should do, what a military must do first and foremost, is to serve the people. And if there's no people to serve, then we might as well just be just another group of marauders out here in space. And
so say we all.
So say we all. There we go. Totally
so say we all.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna roll that with my warm. Oh, come on! Why is it that move? All right, I can spend what's the limit of this to the pressure I can spend? 3?
Up to 3, yeah. Though obviously you can't go
right.
over 5, but yeah.
All right. So that's up with a +1 with my warm. That boost me up to a 7.
I forget. Can we help?
Ooh.
Is there any assistant type?
Yes, you can. So you can. You can support or interfere with another character's actions. You have to mark a pressure, and then you can roll either warm or sharp. Sorry, no, warm to support them, or your relationship.
I'll do a relationship because that's a +2.
Sure.
All right, let's see. So that's a 7 + 2, which is a 9.
Cool. So on a 9, you hold 1, and you can give them you can spend that to create an opportunity, take one of the negative consequences, or give them +1 to the move. You are also entangled in any fallout from their move, but that's,
So
I'm at a
So with
4
the-
right now.
okay. Yeah, +1 wouldn't help. So I guess.
It'll be less pressure for me to spend.
Oh, okay. So you'll still be able to do it then?
Yeah, I can get
To
to a
spend the
7.
pressure? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a 5. Yeah, so I just need to spend 2.
Okay. Good thing I helped you lower your pressure a bit.
Good thing. Good thing. All right. So I'll mark 2, bump 1. That actually gets me. I have 1 XP over.
Cool.
But that bumps you up to a 7. So when you make an inspired speech on a hit, choose 2. Everyone who takes your words into their heart erases 1 pressure. If anyone wants to take that. Sorry, you'll never reach your breaking point. Sorry.
Apparently not.
Nope. Sorry. Well, if you wanted, I mean, I don't know how you would not take those
Well,
words.
basically, you just said what I said earlier, except in an inspiring way. So.
Oh, yeah. See, we're a good tag team. You're bunt and forward. I just
Yeah.
it all up.
You set him up. I knocked him down.
And so that's one of the 2. The other one is I'm going to erase 1 alarm. I'm not calling for an action that could have a +1 forward to it.
Sure thing.
But on the 79, everyone's looking at me to be the strong one. I have to mark 1 pressure. It's fine. It's one near to breaking again.
Perfect. That's great. And I think there will actually be kind of a but probably more of a round of applause than cheering at that, because it's a relatively intimate gathering. It's probably only about, I think we decided the fleet's only about a couple of dozen ships in total, so it's not like thunderous applause, but there is the civilian captains definitely seem to actually be kind of quite on board with what you're saying, in general. And Teffer isn't at their most alert anyway, so they're not putting up quite as much of a resistance as they might otherwise. Awesome. So yeah, and I think with that, as I said, unless there is anything else you wish to introduce, I think with that, the kind of the business of the day will sort of wind down, and it will kind of seed more into just general,
Fun.
Revelry.
Yeah, exactly, mingling and the like.
Awesome.
So I think it would be just then finally having that private scene, like informing Porter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can find a private booth.
At least I probably would prefer something a bit more private, but this is fine.
Okay, well, it's a private booth. It's got sound dampeners and it's
okay.
trust me, this is the Don Juan's got some good tech on it.
Speaking of tech.
Yeah, I think. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think if we all sit down, probably the first thing Porter would do would be like, both of you put me to shame, and I thought I was the one that could that could spin a yarn, and but seriously, it was, and he looks pretty darn serious, and Eunan's used to Porter dropping the act and praising, but maybe Commander Cascade, I don't know if you've seen me kind of actually seeming like a serious, normal human being. So he's like, seriously, you have my support, Commander. That was very moving.
Paradoxically, that actually puts Elisa at ease, seeing Porter serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she does visibly relax.
And
I think that probably counts as a reach out as well, actually, because you are honestly telling her what you think of her. So
yeah, that's a 6, and I can't burn. Oh crap! I can't burn pressure on that one.
Was that with Warm or your relationship with? You don't. Do you have a relationship with?
Oh, wait. Yeah, we. Yes, I have a 1 with you. Perfect. Okay, 7. 7. Okay, cool.
So one of you gets to erase pressure, and you both increase your relationship with each other.
Yeah, I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to say you can erase some pressure because I don't need to erase anymore.
Yeah, you don't need to. You can't erase any more pressure.
Yeah. So you can erase, and we gain a relationship.
I think, Commander Cascade visibly relaxes what you're saying. I think she believes what you're saying. She doesn't think you're putting, because earlier at the start she just think, oh yeah, everything I heard about Porter Malik, he's a bit of a sleazeball. Yeah, I don't know. But no, I think she was genuinely on board for your proposal, for sure. She was it was like it interested her, but I think she kind of almost ruefully sort of smiles as she kind of takes out a data pad from inside her coat. So many data pads in this world, and she's like, I'm glad you found the speech inspiring, but given what I just said and what we came here to talk to you, it's almost at odds. And she'll give you the data pad, and it's Dr. Adebayo's findings of possible mnemonic infiltration.
Well, this is a bit of a buzzkill, if I might say. And if I'm totally honest, this is horrifying.
I suggested we bring you into it because, we do need fresh eyes on this. I believe the good doctor is brilliant at what they do, but the fact that we can't think of a way to detect this, maybe there's something from all your experience as a party captain and skirting regulations. Maybe we could come up with something.
I can't take full credit for the personnel and the technologies and such and tools that we have on the Don Juan, but I have a human data officer here, Nolan Micah, and as you can imagine, the pleasure and rest and relaxation business relies heavily on market research, and we have abilities to track every single person and algorithms to perfectly decipher what people are enjoying, what things are stimulating them. And I believe he would be the person to be able to kind of figure. He runs the whole. We don't collect that much data anymore. It's not every piece of information is interesting to us, but they would be a good person to inquire with. They're not scientifically trained, but they have hands-on experience figuring out how to monitor people and how this sort of technology might work. They have my trust, but they're not from the. I don't know how much trust your scientific community would put in them. They're certainly not military brass. I'll say that.
Well, either way, it sounds like they're the right person for this job. If they can make the inquiry soon, I would appreciate it, because it's funny. I'm not exactly sure what made me say those words at the meeting, but if they were to be true, we can't keep all of this as clandestines would like to be. It should be a meeting of minds between yourselves and ours.
I couldn't agree more, Commander. This is off topic, but I don't understand the military chain of command. So are you in charge, or is Admiral Bullard the top of the totem pole?
Here, Commander
He'd like
Cascade
to
actually
think he was
smirked.
top at the bubble. That's what I say.
Nominally, he's in charge in the military, but everyone looks at the horizon black, so therefore everyone has to look to me.
Interesting. Well, if there
And
was
Ballard's
ever
not a
if there was
not
ever
a
a
fan of colonist technology. I say to you specifically. Like,
well, yeah, don't. And this is just between friends right now, off the book. But if a civilian government ever did form, we would certainly want someone in the military, someone like you, Commander, as the top brass in our military. I think you have the right mind for it and the right attitude. But just expressing a personal preference, not suggesting anything untoward.
No, Porter, you never strike me as someone who suggests anything untoward, unless it's to loosen them up.
yeah, I was about to say I was
Most
gonna
certainly.
snark into my drink about that.
Of course. Interesting. Okay. All right.
I think I'd also mention I'd apologize to Porter about like the only reason Ballard suspected you was because I used your followers to help seemingly line up with this inquiry of the technology.
Interesting. Not a Yunin, not a problem. You don't have to apologize to me ever. Well, most of the time. Commander, what's your pleasure? Let's get you to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, I think she's actually was going up to take a sip from whatever drink she had, which she has been nursing for most of the night, even during the meeting. And I think when you say that, that's when she kind of snorts her drink and just starts coughing. I'm not quite sure.
We can take it slow. I remember my first beer too, Commander.
Fine, it's been a while, I suppose.
I think I muttered something in Spanish, like that. That roughly along the lines like, don't push it too much, man. Like, as I sip my drink.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm not too harshly, but I think I'm playfully calling you on your shit and trying to get you to have a little bit of fun now that we've kind of dealt with our business.
Yeah, I think you don't need to call them on her shit.
Okay.
I think she looks like she's ready to like let business go for now.
Perfect.
She's made her big speech. She's
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
Just depends on who's gonna like. I don't know where she'd start. I don't know where I'd start.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we don't have to like play it out. We can just like just like all right, to have a drink or two.
I'm curious though. Like, yeah, we don't have to play it out, but did Porter play on the fact that that Union does technically have a preference for Elisa at all?
I think what I do for sure is I'm gonna just say pretend I get like check my data pad or something. I'm like, oh, you two stay right here. If you could, I just got a ping. we have found a special container that contains some of the last of the prosecco in existence, and I don't know if it's good or not. So would you two mind just testing it to make sure it's okay? And I'll send over a couple bottles. I have something else to take care of. You just hang out right here, and before you can even say anything, I'm like sidling out. Again, it's like a very private booth, and I'm like pressing a button, and like it's almost like the booth dims a little bit, and like some like light mood music starts playing, and like very quickly someone brings like 2 bottles of champagne over for you, which I don't think anyone's had any champagne or prosecco in a very long time. So I don't necessarily like call you out in front of them, but I definitely am making myself scarce.
And I'm making a mental note to like, oh, I think we need to have an inspection on the Don Juan.
For their permission.
Cool.
Yeah, so all that happened, and I think
I definitely drink
Lisa's
some of that
not-
prosecco. Definitely.
yeah, I think she'll take a glass and she'll just kind of like roll her eyes, and she says like, one of the things I've heard about my cousin is that he's not subtle at all.
No, he is. I don't even know if he understands what subtle means.
That's probably why that makes him a delight. And he has been delightful.
He is a good man.
I think Commander Cascade will take a drink, and she says, thanks for stepping up there at the meeting. I know you've had your problems with Admiral Bullard. I just didn't think it's stupid of me to think you wouldn't call them out even in a place like that, but of course you would.
Well, besides your cousin, you probably are one of the only people who know me best. And at least I didn't punch anyone this time, right?
I think there's a look on her face as if to say like, no, she'll take another drink, and she's like, at the very least, I think you can see that she's actually genuinely nervous. That's sort of thing. Yeah, no, she's quite nervous. Like she'll make her speeches. That's her mode. But here she's just like,
I think I'm going to let loose.
Okay.
I don't want to see what the consequences of. Yeah, because even though Porter was not subtle at all, and I know you are still, because of all the worries of like this new development, you're still a little uptight and not letting loose. I'm going to be like, you know what, fuck it, this might be the only chance. Oh, fuck.
What'd you get?
I got double ones.
What? All right. So if you sub in your relationship, okay, let's do the maths again. Let's see. If you sub in,
So that's only, it's only a 4 total because I don't have raw.
If you mark 2 pressure, it can build you up to a 6. Can I support in this? Can I try to roll to support?
Yeah. How does that look when you're? How does you helping? And look in this instance, sort of what's is it just you kind of like joining in, or?
Yeah, I think it's very much like I'm gonna make an effort to like just we made some inroads today. It's a problem that won't be solved tonight, so it's fine. Put that in a box for now and just like enjoy Lieutenant Soto's company and this. The last prosecco in all of existence, apparently. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm supporting. So I still have to roll this.
Yeah.
With warm. No maths we have to do. Like normally you would be like, it's okay to miss a roll, but like no, you gotta
That's how
Kittens.
intense Battlestar is. You cannot miss.
Yeah, there's an 11. So
Nice.
So you get
I
you get to hold 2 and spend them as you wish.
yeah. So okay, let's do my thing. Get double ones. Plus, what do you roll with Medley?
Raw.
Okay, so I can spend 2 hold to give you +2.
Okay. So yeah, 4, 6, and then I'll just spend. I'll spend the pressure, even though technically that makes it a hit, which means I mark a pressure off. So it'll just stay as is.
Yeah.
And I get to choose the item, but the GM makes the details. And it has to be something I really regret.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
I want to do you share a secret you shouldn't because this Prosecco is damn good. But I don't get to decide what's
Ooh.
secret. Technically.
Yeah. Ooh. This is. Yeah, I think. I will check in. Porter, are you okay with me? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So
it's the
I
last
think
episode, sadly. So yeah, it makes
exactly.
sense.
It's not like I don't think there's a whole like big drunken confession type thing, but I think it's more just the fact that even though the commander is joining in drinking, is probably not as drunk as um as Soto, and I think Soto just comes out and says something along the lines of, "I don't know what your cousin was like, but Brody's a good guy."
And I think I'm being not super not handsy, but definitely a lot closer than I would normally be. Like because the whole point of me letting loose was like to like get closer to you, and in my mind, apparently that means well, the other person that's close in my life is Brody, of course. Like we all have to get along.
Oh, so good.
God. How do I react to that? Because cook.
Like, do you immediately put 2 and 2 together, or?
No, because I'm not putting 2 and 2 together. You have to explain that to me.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
fair.
but how would you react when I say that? Well, in character, how would you react to just that part? And I think I would, because I am probably pretty drunk, will extrapolate more.
I think
Like, I think I have my head on your shoulder. Like, yeah, Brody's a really good guy.
I think I don't know how you see it, but you can feel the commanders start kind of almost unconsciously putting on their commander face, so to speak. And I think you probably feel that.
I look up at you and like, even though I see the commander face, I'm like, I mistake it for like a confused face. And like, I mean, there's not many of us left from Soto, and it's just Brody. I wouldn't have done it, but we all had to do to survive. And Brody just did what he had to do to survive. And if it meant pretending to be your cousin, so be it. He's done really great with the ship and everything. And he's helping everybody because, of course, Ballard would think that no one can have any fun or anything and just be all rah-rah military bullshit, which I am about the military, of course. But we do need to have our time. And Brody's just... I wish he would just... He doesn't even let loose, And some of it's because he's worried you'll think he's not cousin enough for you or something. I don't know. And I just like kind of take a long sip of my drink. And I mean, from what I understood, your cousin was dead already anyway, so it wasn't like a big deal. He just took over the name. And this is the most like normal you've ever seen you Soto. Like not acting like a military prick.
Yeah. Ooh. This is the point where I keep wanting to really keep your cool sort of move. Oh god. Oh man. That is a revelation and a half. And the thing is, if this wasn't the last episode, I'd be like, okay, cliffhanger, but no, I have to resolve this. I think we'll see Lieutenant Commander Cascade stiffly reach for the prosecco, pour herself under the glass, the last one. She'll be selfish this time. She'll take it all for herself, and she'll say that, well, I guess we're drinking to the memory of my cousin tonight then.
And I just go, salute! Like, not really getting it because I'm drunk. And, like, with the last of whatever I had in my glass, like, clink yours.
Cool. And I think we'll just get a quick dramatically ironic cutaway to Porter. What are you doing as this goes down, or do you sort of see this from across the room?
Are you watching on a data pad?
Yunin, as much as I would love to be a fly on the wall, no, I think I'm taking this opportunity to check in with Tefa and see how they're doing, and just making sure they're having a really fun time. And I think my goal with Tefa is to get the pulse. Like, I know I've got them a little off balance already, but just seeing like how they are feeling about my suggestion that we start to move away from, open up the Captain's Council to something more resembling sort of a democratic sort of institution, and get their pulse on that. And if they share resignation or share their sort of trepidation at that, or kind of not going along, I'm going to kind of subtly hint at that I have something that would be unfortunate if people learned about them, to just be like, so you should reconsider your position. So that's kind of my plan on dealing with Tefa.
Brilliant. And I think that ties in nicely. So I think we have that moment between the commander and Soto, that moment where you're kind of twisting Tefa's arm, as it were, sort of on the other side of the ballroom. And that's when we've got kind of the big picture window on the side of the ballroom, and you can see the what did we call it? The Midnight Gale is framed in the window, picked out against the stars in the background, and a series of explosions start running along the ship, and it detonates in a fireball in the middle of the fleet. And I think we will call that our season end, as it were.
Oh my! That was awesome.
How evil of you!
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, I'm drunk and this happened. How dare!
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I was on the brink of confessing feelings, and then secrets had to happen, and the people be like, that and the people are like, so that's how these showrunners are stringing this series all day long. Ugh.
So thank you for that. What I will actually do, because this isn't really a game where epilogues feel like a particularly satisfying thing because of the kind of unending nature of it. But what I will ask is for the kind of the just a quick like next time on scene from each of you, rather than so maybe let's say less an epilogue that ties things up neatly and more a something that lets us know what might happen next. So I'll just go through in character keeper order. And Soto, what do we see?
Next time, I'm gonna go with the HBO style of next time, so it's technically on the next season. So it's not necessarily on the very next what happens in the very next episode, and it's me confessing to Porter what had happened, but at the same time, in whatever room that we were doing it in, some sort of electronic subtly shifts away of the pneumatic having taken in this particular information.
Nice, thank you. And Cascade, what do we see from you next time?
We get I think in the HBO trailer of this, as Florence and the Machine kicks in, we get like several harrowing shots of Alisa dragging a body down like this derelict corridor that's like, sparks and there's fire, and it's Sergeant Lagrange who's like soaking in like sweat and blood, and she's kind of like, and Commander is like trying to drag her down this corridor, and every now and then she has to pull out a pistol and shoot at something on the end of the corridor as she just keeps dragging. And like I think she's saying like she's saying something along the lines of, it took me too long to find you, I'm not letting you go again. That's a tease for everyone else, I guess.
Brilliant, thank you. And finally, Porter.
Yeah, I think what you see is Porter. He's reading some note cards and looking in the mirror, and he's wearing not like a very extravagant outfit. It looks very, shall we say, presidential. And as he's reading them, you see Talos come out of like the shower, like with a towel on, and yeah. And I think that's all. I think that's all we see. So suggesting there's some sort of debate going on.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, all. Again, sorry we had to end it there. And but thank you all. It's been a great fun run of this. I'm going to stop the recording now. So if you have been watching this, thank you very much.